All right, now we're going to take a look at Mr. Crowley, featuring Randy Rhoads on the guitar. We're going to talk about the rhythm progression now, which is basically a 16-bar progression that cycles over and over throughout the song. So the first phrase we're going to learn sounds like this. So I'm starting off with a D minor chord. I'm barring on the 5th fret, starting from the A string, then playing 7 on the D, 7 on the G, 6 on the B, and then I have the 5th fret on the high E. Now some single notes, open A string, 1st fret of the low E string. Now I'm going to go back to a D chord, but this time it will be a D5 power chord. 5th fret on the A, 7th fret D and G. Now I'm going to slide off of that D chord, keep the same shape, move back to the 1st fret and play B flat. I'll do that 2 times and then I'm going to have a single note riff. So that single note riff is on the 1st fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the A, pull off to the 1st fret and then to the open A string. Now I'll play B flat 2 more times, followed by a single C note, which can be found on the 3rd fret of the A string. So far we've done this. And now we repeat this phrase, except for the final note. Instead of ending with the C note on the 3rd fret of the A string, I'll have the 1st fret of the A string as the final note the 2nd time through. So the 2nd time we play this 4-measure phrase sounds like this. Now we're going to move up to a C chord. So this phrase, we play a C5 power chord 3 times. A riff now, 5 to 7 on the A string. Now we're going to play a C chord on the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings. And an F chord now, which can be found 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 6 on the B. And then we're going to play D minor 2 times. So if we go back to the C chord. Now at this point we're going to have a fill. And this whole round of chords happens 3 times throughout the song. And each time at this point there's going to be a different fill. So here's the fill for the first time we play this chord progression. So I'm playing 5 to 7 on the D string. Now on the G and the B string, 5th fret, 7 on the G, 6 on the B, back to 5 on the same 2 strings. Same 2 strings, now I'm going to slide up 9 G, 8 B, back to 7 on the G string, 6 on the B. Now we'll move back to a C power chord 5 times. To 4 hits on a B flat power chord. Now at this point I'm just going to pull off to the open A string. So after pulling off to that open A string, we're going to strike an A5 power chord, open A, 2nd fret on the D string. Okay, so there's the rhythm for the first, you can call that the first verse and chorus. So let's go back and play the whole thing. And there's the rhythm. Now, as I mentioned earlier, at that point within that chord progression where we played the fill, there's going to be a different fill the second time through the chord progression and then a separate fill the third time through. So let's take a look at the fill the second time through. Sounds like this. So this fill comes from the D Phrygian mode, for those of you keeping track of such things. We're going to start off on the B string, play it 3, 4, back to 3 on the B string, 5 on the G, back to 3 on the B, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2 on the G string. Now to the D string, same phrase, 5, 3, 5, 3, 2. Finally, we're going to go to the A string now, 5th fret, and that leads us into the C power chord. So there's the fill during the second verse and chorus. And now we're going to take a look at the third fill. Sounds like this. So we're starting off on the A string. This will be in D minor now. We're going to play 5, 7, 8 on the A string, 5 on the D, 7 on the D, back to 8 on the A string, 5, 7, 8 on the D string. Now we're going to hammer on and pull off 5, 7, 5 on the G string, 5 on the B, 6 to 8 on the B string, and we end 5 to 6 on the high E string, and that takes us back to the C chord. Okay, so there you have the 3 verse and chorus rounds of Mr. Crowley.